Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business and Family. And this podcast is for our owner-operators and their families to keep them informed of what's going on at Oakley Trucking here in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Also, we use it. It has turned into a recruiting and retention tool, but it's a great tool that we have discovered to communicate with truck drivers. So we appreciate everybody listening, even if you're not at Oakley Trucking. We thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and share with a friend. That is the way we get out there, is you guys doing it for us. So please try to do that. So here's what we've done. We've got we recorded quite a few episodes at the Mid-America Truck Show. So that's what's going to be playing the next, maybe 5 or 6 weeks. We got some really good ones, and I want to get it out to you guys. We recorded them there at the show while it was going on, so it's a pretty neat environment, a little different setting, different background. Instead of watching this normal one up here in the booth at the Oakley Terminal. So a little something different to look at. But so we've got, just to give you an idea, I sat down with Casey Phillips of SiriusXM, and we got to hear his story and how he got into radio and where he is today. We got to sit down with the founder of Pittsburgh Power, Bruce Mallinson, and that was a great episode, to listen to. And he's a great individual. Truckers Against Trafficking. We talked to a person with that. NAIT organization. We just did several ones that we're going to bring to you that are pretty interesting, pretty good things to know and to learn about what's going on at the Mid-America Truck Show. And this one actually that's coming up right now, that it is Women in Trucking with Ellen Voie. What a great story that is, and what a great person she is, and doing what she's doing. And I think you'll be interested in that. And that's what we're coming up with now. So what we'll do is kind of introduce that. We'll start with her, and then the next few weeks will be some different ones, from the truck show. I hope you enjoy them all, and be sure and check us out on YouTube also. Don't forget that. So here we are, episode 149 with Women in Trucking, Ellen Voie. Also, this episode is sponsored by Aero Truck Sales. Aero Truck Sales has been in business for over 60 years and a longtime partner of Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast. Trey Visor and Keith Wilson do a great job at putting you in the right truck to fit your needs and our needs here at Oakley. They carry all makes and models to choose from, with on-site financing through transport funding. So whether you are a seasoned owner-operator or a first-time buyer, be sure to contact Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales at 573-216-6047 and tell him you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. We are here at the Mid-America Truck Show, and we're sitting down with Miss Ellen Voie. I want to make sure I get that last name right, Voie. And I guess, Ellen, we get into some of this. First of all, this is a great venue, Mid-America Truck Show, especially for women in trucking, along with all of us. But it's just a great format that brings all of us together. Even if it's competition, we all get to come together and kind of celebrate, or let trucking know what's going on in the world and let everybody else know about trucking. I think it's great. Getting started, I would like for you to introduce yourself, kind of, give our listeners an idea of who you are and what you do and where you're from.
Sure. So, as you said, Ellen Voie, and I'm the founder of the Women in Trucking Association. Started it in March of 2007, so 16 years old. Started it with just an idea and put together a board of directors, got the legal paperwork done, and here we are 16 years later with 8,000 members in 10 countries.
Wow.
About 15% of our members are men. They join because they support our mission. Our conference last year had close to 1,800 registered attendees, which is pretty amazing. So we've really grown. So that means that the industry has embraced the idea of gender diversity, and not just the fact that we represent everyone in the industry. So we have engineers, we have safety professionals, we have women who own truck schools and truck dealerships. So it's not just drivers who are members, but a lot of our focus is on drivers because there's a physical component. And so a lot of our work does, include like safety and security and things like that for drivers. But I just got to mention the mission, encourage the employment of women in the industry, to address obstacles, and then to celebrate success.
Where are you from?
I'm from Wisconsin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do I have that Midwest accent?
Well, no, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
You have family?
I actually do. I have a son and a daughter, and they both live pretty close, within half hour.
Good. What about, you seem like a very busy woman, but what do you do when you have time? What's your downtime?
Well, I like to go for long walks, and I like to read, and I have an airplane. I have a Cessna Skyhawk, so I like to go flying. Yes.
Nice hobby.
It's a great hobby.
That's cool. So you get to fly that, or you get to fly it very often?
I've been traveling a lot lately, but summer is more opportunities in the summer. In Wisconsin, we have something called the Flying Hamburger Social. So on Wednesdays in central Wisconsin, all the little airports host a little fly-in, and everyone just flies to them, and they got food, and you do what we call hangar flying, which is talking, and it's just so much fun. It starts at 5:00 on Wednesdays, and so anytime after 4, I am not in my office on Wednesdays if the weather's good, and I'm flying to these little airports and just having fun.
That is really good. I have a friend that has a plane, and I never realized how much weather is very important when you start to get up in the
wind.
in the wind and everything. You have to really know what's going on. So
personal limits. Yep. I don't go if it's over 14 knots.
That's awesome. Great. Great. Well, good. What are y'all doing? I guess first let's get started. What are y'all doing here at the truck show?
So we have a booth in the atrium, but we also have our Whitney, which is our driver ambassador tractor trailer. It's parked right outside the front of the atrium. And that tractor trailer has a learning environment in there. It's got a hands-on learning environment. It's got videos, touch screens, and there's a simulator in the front. So I encourage everyone to go through the tractor trailer. And it's the driver ambassador. Our driver is from Schneider. And so she works for Schneider 2 weeks out of the month and works for us 1 week out of the month and goes to trade shows like this. So that's the booth in the atrium. But the big event is tomorrow night. So tomorrow at about 3:30 in the south wing and upper level, we will have our Salute to Women Behind the Wheel, where we honor female commercial drivers. We give them all a red T-shirt. We have chocolate fountains, and you're welcome to come.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
We have a cake that's in the shape of a truck. We have some speakers. We have some awards that we give out. We are recognizing the Driver of the Year. We'll announce the Driver of the Year. And then at the end, I am giving away a truck.
Come on.
No, Aero Truck Sales donated a Volvo and a 2018 Volvo VNL, and a lot of people have donated items that will go with that truck, and I get to, I keep saying I'm going to hand the keys of the truck to someone, but it's a keyless entry. So yeah, it'll be on your phone and like in a hotel room, So Irdetto donated the keyless entry, and I get to give that truck away to someone tomorrow.
How does that feel?
We did it once before, about 6 years ago. And it's just the neatest thing to change someone's life.
Yeah. And that's what we're here to do. That's what Women in Trucking does, I think, is help change people's lives for sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of business with Aero Truck Sales. We're very familiar with them, and which we actually have Keith here in our booth, helping us.
I know. I told him he needs to go look at the truck if they're donating to us.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic to be able to do that. So, what? I know you said you got started a long time ago. Small operation, you did it. What really got you fired up about that in the beginning?
So I was working for I was working for Schneider, and I was the manager of recruiting and retention programs. So that was corporate level initiatives. And they said, figure out how to attract and retain non-traditional groups. And that was returning military, Hispanics, seniors, and women. So, and at the time I was getting my pilot's license, and I belonged to a women's aviation organization. And I thought, well, why isn't there something in the trucking industry to support women in the industry? And so I did my research, and I got a whole bunch of influential women that I talked to, and they all agreed to be on the board, and got paperwork done by our attorney. And, it's just, it's really cool because, there's very little pushback. There's a few drivers out there who think women shouldn't be driving trucks, but, they're boomers. They're going to age out. They're going to retire pretty soon because younger guys think that women can do anything. So it's just been overwhelming to see the industry support for what we do. We do things like we work with the truck stops on safety, security, and amenities. We work with the truck manufacturers on truck cab design and ergonomics. We've sent women down to their factories to sit and have them measure female drivers. And so we work with, we have white papers. We have a lot of white papers. We have one on how to attract and retain female drivers. We have one on parking. We have one on same gender training. We want to be the resource.
So women, if they want to get in it, contacting you first, you can show them the avenues, the best avenues, the way to go.
Well, and I'm glad you said that because we recently launched our driver portal, and it's for men and women. I mean, it's, and we have men drivers who join because things that we're doing, like at the truck stops, Tia Petro put in hair dryers and big fluffy towels, and the men were like, we like big fluffy towels,
Right.
So, but we have a driver portal on our website now. And you can ask questions, like what questions should I ask when I go to a carrier? What questions should I ask when I go to a school? How do I stay safe on the road? How do I stay healthy? How do I maintain relationships with my family? Even when people start asking questions, then we put the answers up there. And one of them recently is, can I have a felony and drive? And we're like, yes, but you have to choose the companies that allow that. You can't haul government munitions with a felony, but you can certainly haul trash. We want to be the resource. I serve on the Motor Carrier Safety Advisory Committee at the DOT, and I'm proud of that because apparently I have something to contribute. So again, it's being a resource.
That's good. I mean, having that, offering more, opens up a lot of other people, not just women, to join women in trucking. You give so many different services that it encompasses all the truck drivers.
Right. Exactly. It does. And we have a lot of member benefits, so they can get discounts like, for example, Aero Truck Sales. I mean, they'll get extended maintenance and things like that by being a member of Women in Trucking.
Do you have an idea how many women truck drivers there are in the United States, or what percentage they are?
The percentage is 13.7, and that's over-the-road drivers. Now, if you look at Department of Labor, they call them truck drivers / sales delivery drivers, which is someone taking a straight truck to a grocery store with chips. So we do an annual Women in Trucking survey, and for over-the-road drivers, it's 13.7% right now.
Has that gone up since you started Women in Trucking?
It was 3% when I started Women in Trucking. So you know what? I'd like to take credit for that. I think I will.
What a good story. You're seeing progress then.
Absolutely. I think the biggest obstacle for women in the industry, whether they're working as a dispatcher or safety director or a CEO, women in the past didn't picture themselves in the industry. They didn't look at a truck and go, oh, I want to work in that industry. But we tell stories. We have a member of the month, a driver of the year, influential woman in trucking. So we tell their stories. So we might have someone who hauls trash. We might have someone who hauls cars. We might have, and then we tell their stories and other women go, oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Well, I could see where, they might think, well, I can't do that.
Right.
That's always been a man's job. I can't drive a truck. You make it reality for them. I guess first you got to get them to believe that they can drive a truck, and then you have the avenues for them.
We had a driver on the Megyn Kelly show when she still had her show, and our driver talked about how she got to see sunsets, and her husband saw the sunrises. Their team, and our phones just lit up, and so many women said, "If she can do it, I can do it."
Yeah. What are some of the obstacles, the biggest obstacles they face? I know we just talked about that one, getting over the fear of it, but what's some of the big obstacles women face?
It's safety. They don't feel safe. We did a survey, female commercial drivers on a scale of 1 to 10. The average response was 4.4.
Yeah.
So if I were to say to you, Jeremy, when you go to work and you feel safe less than half the time, would you want to work there?
Yeah. No.
So the safety, there's 3 aspects of safety. One is how well maintained is the truck? How new is the truck? We all know that broken down trucks or non-maintained trucks are not safe. Secondly is, where are you sending the driver? Are they unloading in an unsafe part of town that's not well lit, or maybe there's no security?
And that's the safety I'm thinking is their safety.
Personal
not necessarily,
safety.
Yeah, personal safety was what I was thinking.
Right. Well, then the third part of safety is, are they the captain of their ship? So if they say, well, there's a tornado coming and there's a snowstorm, I don't want to go there, what is the response from the company? Is it, hey, this is trucking, get out there? Or is it, we respect your decision? So those three aspects, and I will tell you that women look for companies with better safety ratings, newer trucks, and how many trucks does Oakley have?
850. Well, we don't actually have any trucks, but they're all
owner-operators.
Yep.
So you're most women go to companies with about 50 trucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the companies
get the personal touch.
Family stuff. It's
maybe,
family. Yeah. But 800 is good. It's the ones that are over the 10,000 or the 1,000, the big ones. Very few female drivers, although they might start there, but then they leave because they like that family atmosphere.
Oakley Trucking is a 100% owner-operator company. We specialize in hopper bottom, end dump, and pneumatic trailers. We provide the trailer free of charge, and you provide the truck. We have a large customer base that reaches the whole United States as well as parts of Canada. Our owner-operators live anywhere from Texas to North Carolina to Pennsylvania to Wisconsin and everywhere in between, and we get them home weekends. We take it seriously when you join Oakley Trucking because we need you to be successful. Oakley offers great benefits and competitive mileage pay, so you know that when your wheels are turning, you're generating money no matter if you're loaded or empty. We understand that you want to make a good living and that you make our living. We only take on independent contractors, and to be honest with you, we are very particular on who we lease on. You must have a good driving record, good work history, and clean, dependable truck. So if you're interested in Oakley Trucking or just want some more information, you can go to oakleytrucking.com, listen to our weekly podcast, The Oakley Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, and I guess I kind of figured it might be the opposite. I thought maybe, the bigger companies would welcome women drivers a lot more than maybe a smaller company that didn't know, taking a chance on it. But
you could be right.
I don't know. That's a different way of looking at it. But that's probably where they have to start a lot of times is the bigger companies, just to get in the foot in the door, to get in the experience and stuff.
So you are actually in a good position because 83% of female drivers come into the industry at the urging of a family member or friend. So if you have men driving for you, I would say go to your wife, go to your mom, your sister, your aunt, your daughter, and talk to them about teaming with you and get them in the industry. And then once they come in the industry, and they already know what it's like. So the fact 83% of women come into the industry because of a family member or friend, that means that they already know what the industry's like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you got, I guess a lot of them don't come in cold. They do kind of know a little bit what's going on. They do. So that's good. What, I know you've got avenues of getting in front of these women out there. That's probably got to be a full-time job. Just like coming on the Oakley Podcast, spreading the word. It looks like you're really good at spreading the word about women in trucking and getting out through all the media outlets that you possibly can.
We have a great relationship with the media. I love it. I've been on Fox News. In fact, I got to return a phone call to Fox News today. It's just being a resource. The board wants us to be a resource. And along with the white papers and the information, the surveys that we do, we are a resource. But the other thing is we have an image team. And our image team, we have one in the United States and one in Canada. They do ride-alongs. We give legislators and regulators a ride-along. We gave Robin Hutchinson recently, she's the FMCSA administrator, a ride. We want our drivers to talk to them about what life is like on the road because of their rules, especially FMCSA. But we also give the media, we gave Diane Sawyer a ride. She spent 6 hours with one of our drivers. So we want them to help us tell our story. A couple other things that we've done. We created a Girl Scout transportation patch. We found out the Boy Scouts had one and Girl Scouts didn't. So we created that, and along with an activity book that it's called Scouting for Cookies. So it talks about how the grain from the field goes to the bakery in a truck, bakery to packaging, all in a truck. We want kids to look at your trucks and say, Mommy, that could be my milk. It could be my gas. It could be the cookies, whatever. We want them to have a relationship with the truck and the driver, the industry, put it that way. And the other thing, we have a truck driver doll. So to introduce kids to truck driving as well, it's a plush, about a 13-inch tall doll. So
men are not going to come up with that idea. Only women are going to come up with that idea. Let's have a truck driver doll.
Exactly. And I really wanted to do a truck driver doll, then a technician doll, then maybe safety director doll, but I had to order 3,000 of them to get them made. It's like,
that reminds me, sometimes Ellen, my wife, will say, I guarantee something will happen, or we'll come across something that was really neat, and she'll say, I guarantee you a woman came up with that.
Probably.
I said, you're probably right, I'll get her into doing, talking about some of my fishing and stuff I do. Or she said, well, I know a woman didn't come up with that, but I can probably fix some of that for you. And it's
we
just
have a different way of looking at
different
things,
perspective of things
Yeah.
that makes this whole world go round, and it's really neat to be able to do it together. Another question, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but I know we're focused mainly on truck drivers, which is what we do, but what other avenues? You introduce women into transportation, into the trucking world. I mean, what else does that include besides driving a truck?
Well, there's so many careers, and that's in our driver ambassador tractor trailer. We actually talk about that. What other jobs are available? How many women have said, well, I want to be a dispatcher? You know what I'm really surprised about? I've been in this industry a long time, and I'm seeing, and I was a dispatcher at one time. I'm seeing we're at about 44% of dispatchers are women, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Because why not? And safety directors, we're seeing more women become safety directors because, hey, safety is a huge issue. We're seeing more women take over from their dads. So, for an example, is Viria Trucking. Jack Viria started it, and his daughter, Karen Smirchek, is now the CEO, even though she has a brother who works for the company. So it's not automatically assumed that the son is taking over.
That's right.
Yeah. So
right.
We're seeing more and more of that. We're seeing more women. Look, Shelley Simpson's a president at JB Hunt. We're seeing more women in the C-suite.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's long overdue, I guess. I mean, it's just that now I think women are more wanting to be more involved in that, and you're giving that avenue
Exactly.
for them to learn about the transportation industry, which a long time ago they didn't think wasn't an option for them. And through Women in Trucking, you open up all these doors to all these jobs and professions that a woman can see now of, hey, why, that's all, because the transportation industry, Ellen, is fantastic.
It is. There's so many jobs.
So many jobs.
When I stand up in front of a group of women, executives even, and I'll say, how many of you in high school or college said I want to work in trucking? Rarely does a woman raise her hand. Rarely. But we're seeing more and more women now actually going to college for supply chain. But my generation, I ended up in trucking. I wanted to be in radio broadcasting. How's that?
Yeah.
I actually went to radio broadcasting school. But I ended up working at a trucking company in the drafting department. And one day they came and they said, we want to move you to traffic and we'll send you to school. So I earned my diploma in traffic and transportation management, 1979, and here I am.
That's awesome. It was funny you say that because this week's episode that came out on the Oakley Podcast, I talked to a professor at University of Central Arkansas in Conway, Arkansas, that runs the supply chain logistics division. And we talked about young people getting in it, going through it, getting out, having opportunities, because he had companies like us that reach out to him for people coming right out of college, or interns, or people coming out needing jobs into the transportation industry is really good. Really good. Used to that wasn't offered at schools.
No, I know. We're seeing more supply chain, and
Yeah.
we actually have a sister organization, which is our foundation, which gives out scholarships to women seeking careers in trucking. So that would be as a driver, CDL, or safety director, or diesel tech. We need diesel techs. And the third one we call leadership. So if somebody who's working in the trucking industry and they want to advance their career, we have scholarships available.
How does somebody get in touch with Women in Trucking?
Womenintrucking.org. It's pretty simple. Yeah.
I mean, if they want to, they just basically go to the website, reach out to you through that.
Absolutely.
And
There's
say,
a little
hey,
button that says join. And men can be members. We encourage men join because they support our mission.
Sure.
I mean, look, Oakley's a member.
Yeah, and you have, I mean, even husbands training one of their wives to become co-drivers.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's a way to do it. We get asked that a lot of times. We have that happen a lot of times. You know, so
it's the men bringing women in.
Yeah.
I told you, more women come in because of someone in their life.
That's right. So check out womenintrucking.org.
Yes.
Okay, and if you have any questions, you guys can send them to me. I'll be glad to forward them to Miss Ellen. And
Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on and doing this.
Well, thank you for having me on. This is fun.
This is great. Thank you once again. We appreciate it. Hey, thanks for listening to the Oakley Podcast. We appreciate all you guys that listen today, week in and week out. We got some real good. I get good feedback from everybody too, and it's just it's good to know that it's getting out there, and you guys appreciate it. Keep giving me feedback. Talk to us about what you want to hear, what you want to see, and as always, spread the word. And we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.